These days, work is in trouble. We've outsourced most of our manufacturing to other countries, and with that, we sent away good jobs and our capability to make things. American Giant is a clothing company that's pushing back against this tide. They make all kinds of high-quality clothing and activewear, like sweatshirts, jeans, dresses, jackets, and so much more, right here in the USA. So when you buy American Giant, you create jobs in towns and cities across the country. And jobs bring pride, purpose. They stitch people together. If all that sounds good to you, visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order when you use code STAPLE20 at checkout. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with promo code STAPLE20.
This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We are off and running on a Monday evening alongside Matt Youmans. I am Tim Murray. It is VSiN PrimeTime live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. Matt, as they like to say, the calm before the storm. There's going to be a watch party behind us here for Vegas and Edmonton. Should be a fun one tonight. Maybe we can get another goal with 0.4 of a second to go as a game winner like we saw on Saturday night.
I would not count on it. I think that's against the odds that we would have a last-second goal tonight, but you said the storm. The storm is outside here in Vegas. It's high winds have swept the Vegas Golden Knights watch party in from Stadium Swim to the book here tonight, so it's going to be a packed sports book, which is going to be great. But, Tim, we've got games, really good matchups to talk about tonight in the NBA and NHL playoffs. And not only that, we have the NFL to talk about. The NFL will never let basketball and hockey steal the stage.
They will not, as we get 3 leaked games today as we find out that the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, of course the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, Matt, they open the season at home as tradition is. So Thursday, September 4th, it'll be the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Right now, the early line, Matt, if you want to get your action, your fix in, you want to get that early teaser in, Eagles -7 against the Dallas Cowboys. And then we also found out that on Fox, December 20th, as you mentioned, the NFL won't care about the NBA. They don't care about the NHL. They certainly don't care about college football because on the day of the first round of the playoff, as it was last year, we will get Eagles, Commanders, Packers, Bears, which seems to be some foreshadowing that we will more than likely see a good chunk of those teams on Christmas Day. And maybe Lambeau Field will be hosting a Christmas Day game with them on the road on the Saturday prior to Christmas.
Yeah, let's keep it right now to the one game that's up on the DraftKings betting board, and that's the season opener, September 4th, Cowboys at Eagles. And I'm not too surprised. I kind of half expected this was going to be the matchup. With the Eagles at home, it's going to be a big division game. I thought it might be the Commanders, might be the Cowboys. It turns out to be the Cowboys. So I'm thinking when I hear it's announced, this is the matchup. What's the number going to be? And Tim, I was thinking 5.5 is too low, 7.5 is too much. So it's going to be 6, 6.5, or 7. Is it going to be a full 7? I think if you put a full 7 out there, you're going to get more sharp action on the +7. You're talking about a division underdog that's got some respect in the betting market. Even though I don't love the Cowboys, 7's a lot for a division game, even the season opener like this. I probably would open this 6.5. This is going to be a very popular teaser game. Eagles are going to be on a high percentage of the teasers in week 1. If you knock the Eagles down to 1 or even a half-point favorite in that game. I thought 7 was on the high side, but I can see why DraftKings opened 7. And to me, it was going to be 6, 6.5, or 7. Eagles went 5-1 in the division last season. Cowboys 3-3. Cowboys got swept by the Eagles.
Feels good to have a football game with a point spread out there, and we will start getting more. The schedule will officially be revealed in its entirety on Wednesday night, and we'll get more games leaked tomorrow. But the first announcement today, Cowboys and Eagles to start the season Thursday, September 4th, and then Fox will have a doubleheader on December 20th, a Saturday, Eagles, Commanders, Packers, and Bears. Matt, one of our TVs is also on the NBA draft lottery with a lot of interest there with Cooper Flagg in attendance, as we will find out where Cooper Flagg will ultimately be headed when the NBA draft commences in late June. The Utah Jazz, the Washington Wizards, and the Charlotte Hornets all have the best odds to land Cooper Flagg, 14%. The New Orleans Pelicans at 12.5%. The Philadelphia 76ers, 10.5%. So as we were joking out there in the little bullpen area, it does feel like they'll let us wait and make us feel the anticipation for who will get number one overall.
Got to build the hype, Tim.
Of course.
The NBA lottery. I mean, these are the losers. Who's going to be the biggest loser here? Utah, Washington, Charlotte. So Cooper Flagg is obviously going to be the number one pick. I was impressed at the NBA draft combine. He was barefoot. He tested, basically legit 6'8".
Yeah.
A lot of times these heights get exaggerated.
Did you
in
see?
college? And we're going to talk about Ace Bailey in a minute. But I can tell you, I covered the NBA, and I talked to guys basically looking them eye to eye, and the guy would be listed 6'9", 6'10", and I'm 6'5" tops, and I'm looking the guy straight in the eyes. Okay, so heights get exaggerated a lot, but Cooper Flagg, barefoot, was 6'8" at the NBA draft combine, and he's going to be the number one pick. I think that's the type of player that could turn around the Utah Jazz franchise in a hurry. You can say the same thing about the Wizards. I'm not sure about the Hornets. Where those, Wizards, Hornets, Pelicans. If you're Flagg, where do you want to go, Tim? Because you're talking about three really bad franchises.
Philadelphia, probably, right? If you had your pick of the litter. Now, worth noting this:
Philadelphia's got the fifth best shot. Right?
They have the fifth best shot. They have a top 6 protected pick. So if it falls outside of the top 6, Philly's pick actually conveys to Oklahoma City.
Right.
So Philadelphia, who had a absolutely dreadful season, and as the year went on, the tank was full on. I mean, you're talking about a roster with Joel Embiid and Paul George. If you're Cooper Flagg, in the perfect world, yeah, you'd prefer to go there. I mean, the San Antonio Spurs at 6% would be interesting. I don't think the NBA would, let that happen, but could be interesting. We've all hit bets at less than 6% chance. So, yeah, I think if you're Cooper Flagg, I think San Antonio or Philadelphia probably the most intriguing. He's from Maine, so maybe Washington has some intrigue there. But look, that's been a franchise, as I know, has been rather irrelevant for pretty much in its existence outside of a small blip with John Wall and Bradley Beal. Let
me say something about that. Since you're from that neighborhood, if you talk about the worst franchise in pro sports, the 4 major sports leagues, the Washington Wizards are right there near the top of that discussion.
As I've said for years, they are a top 5 most irrelevant sports franchise. No one talks about the Wizards, ever, and with good reason. So we will see.
That'll change if they get Cooper Flagg.
I was trying to think, Matt, because Victor Wembanyama obviously was a foreign-born prospect. LeBron James came out of high school. Cooper Flagg, when you think of college prospects, he's the most anticipated since when? I mean, it's a long time. The hype that is around Cooper Flagg, I mean, you could say Zion, but I think he's more anticipated, at least from the folks that you listen to from a all-around prospect standpoint. I would say Cooper Flagg is expected to be better than Zion Williamson out of Duke, but there was a lot of buzz of Zion coming out of Duke in 2019.
Yeah, you tend to forget as time passes, and things fade, that the Zion hype was off the hook when he came out.
Yeah, there was you remember that video of the Pelicans ticket staff when they got the word yeah, we got Zion.
Not so fired up now, are they?
No, they are not.
Honeymoon's over in New Orleans, but so you're talking about homegrown guys because Victor Wembanyama had a lot of hype.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think Victor and LeBron are the 2 biggest prospects that we've seen probably this century going into the draft. LeBron in 2003 and Victor Wembanyama just a couple years ago. But there's a lot of expectation. And look, you mentioned it. Cooper Flagg, you would think if whoever wins the lottery tonight is going to have a player that is ideally going to change the direction of their franchise. So a lot of pressure will be on Cooper Flagg. And
I still can't believe Duke blew a 7-point lead in the last 2 minutes against Houston. I was thinking about it yesterday. I was thinking about it today. You got those Duke futures. How the hell did Duke blow that lead? And a 5-point lead in the final minute. How do you blow that? It's mind-boggling to me. But anyway, Cooper Flagg, obviously the top pick. Tim, you and I are college hoops guys. it's not always all about the number one pick. The number 2, 3, 4, 5 guys are going to be really talented too. So I think you're looking at Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper from Rutgers. Amazing.
That taste stunk with those two players.
Had a losing record with 2 top 5 draft picks and a really good coach, by the way, and Steve Peichel at Rutgers, and somehow managed to have a losing record with those two guys. I'll tell you a kid I like, Trey Johnson.
Yep, Texas.
He is an NBA scorer. I don't know if he's going to be the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th pick, but you can't cry if you lose a lottery tonight. You finish 2nd, 3rd, or 4th if you might have a shot at Trey Johnson, too.
VJ Edgecombe will be a high pick out of Baylor. We'll see where Con Knippel, the shooter out of Duke, goes as well. So, yeah, there's some names to know. Even if you don't win the lottery, you should get a good piece headed your way. So ESPN tells us we're 7 minutes away from the reveal. I'll believe it when I see it. I think we're more like 15, 20 minutes away from the reveal, but we will see. But, Matt, you mentioned it. We've got 4 big ones today when you look at 2 NBA playoff games, 2 NHL games. Before we get to those games, I did want to hit on this real quickly. They're about to have first pitch at Citi Field. Paul Skeens on the hill for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and you unearthed a pretty great stat from OptaStats about Paul Skeens on the road. He's been tremendous.
Yeah, he has been. By the way, you want to go ahead and read that stat because I sent that in for the show. I don't know if we have a graphic on that.
1.36 road ERA, the lowest road ERA by an MLB pitcher through the first 15 road starts all time. And he gets the nod tonight as a dog against the New York Mets.
That goes back over 100 years, by the way. That's not a small sample size. So Paul Skeens, I think anytime you look and you see a plus price with Skeens, even though the Pirates are not a team you really want to bet, Mets minus 160 here at Circa. But, Tim, if you're going to bet Skeens tonight, I feel like you got to bet first 5.
First 5.
You got to bet first 5. You can't mess around. Obviously, you're going to get a much reduced price if you bet first 5 on Skeens and the Pirates.
Plus 105, first 5. A little dabble for me as well. And about to get underway down in Raleigh, North Carolina, Matt. Washington and the Hurricanes. Carolina up 2-1. No goals in the first 3 games inside that first period. All 3 games have gone under the total of 5.5, and the market has adjusted 5.5 under, minus 140 now. So late money coming in on that one. We got a lot to get to, including our VSiN PrimeTime game of the night. That's Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray. We're live from the Circa Sportsbook. Come on back right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A busy sports night is underway down in Raleigh, North Carolina. Game 4 between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Washington Capitals is underway. Scoreless, 3 and change into that one. The game close here at Circa. Carolina minus 225, Caps plus $2, minus 135 to the under. So late money came in on the under. So that closes at minus 135, as we've seen the under happen in all 3 of the games in this series. Still to come tonight, Vegas and Edmonton. Stuart Skinner back in net for Edmonton, as Cal Pickard seems unlikely to play maybe the remainder of this series, which is certainly good news for the Vegas Golden Knights. Down 2-1. They are a slight dog north of the border up in Edmonton tonight.
How about Alex Ovechkin to score a goal tonight at plus 190? Would you take that?
I would just be happy if he scored, so yes, please. Even though he has struggled mightily in this series. He was great against Montreal, has really struggled here against Carolina.
Yeah, I did not bet that tonight. But I saw Ovi to score a goal plus 190, $2 right in that range. Or here at Circa, the player to score the first goal of the game, Ovechkin is plus 1250. It's about 12-1 odds.
And as I mentioned, every game in this series has gone scoreless in the first period. So you've seen the first period go from minus 120 over in game 1 to minus 115 over in game 2, minus 110 both ways in game 3, and it closed minus 115 to the under here at Circa. So not massive adjustments, but certainly adjustments. The NBA lottery, by the way, is now underway. The San Antonio Spurs get pick number 14, which was the most likely option there. That was the Atlanta Hawks selection, I believe. I don't know. I'll try to keep tabs on this. There's a bunch of trades and all that stuff. All we care about is who goes 1.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Just care about the top 5.
Yeah, so we'll keep you updated, but they are handing it off. I bet you right now, Matt, they'll go to commercial break before the top 3.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm not glued to the lottery right now. I will say this Washington-Carolina hockey game, it'll be good and tight probably the whole way.
Yep.
The more entertaining game is probably going to be the late game tonight between Vegas and Edmonton. That series has been outstanding, especially games 2 and 3.
Oh, my
as good as it gets.
Well, how about this? In game 1, Vegas led 2-0, lost 4-2. In game 2, Edmonton led 3-1, lost the lead 4-3, and then they came back and won 5-4 in overtime. And then game 3, the craziest of all, Edmonton jumps out to the 2-0 lead. Vegas takes a 3-2 lead. You get the own goal to make it 3-3. And then, of course, the Riley Smith goal, really Leon Draisaitl goal with 0.4 of a second to go. The third latest goal, game-winning goal in NHL playoff history. Pretty wild game.
Third latest?
Third latest game-winning goal in Stanley Cup playoff history, I believe.
All right,
at 0.4 of a second. There were only 2 others that were later.
There were goals scored with either 1, 2, or 0.3 of a second?
Yeah.
Because I saw the stat that it was only the third goal scored in the final second.
Oh,
right?
man. Wow. The Washington Wizards just got the 6th pick. I believe that means the Philadelphia 76ers are now in the top 3. Wow. And the Utah Jazz get the 5th pick. Oh, man.
Bad news in Utah.
Wow.
You think you're going to get Cooper Flagg and you get pick number 5.
So right now,
how about that?
So right now, ladies and gentlemen, just keeping tabs on this, the 4 teams who are in the top 4, the Dallas Mavericks, the San Antonio Spurs, the Philadelphia 76ers, and I believe there's one other team. So Cooper Flagg is not going to Washington. He is not going to Utah.
Pelicans are the other team, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, this could actually change some futures odds if the Spurs happen to get Cooper Flagg.
Number 6.
What?
That's terrible for Washington.
Yeah, what do you expect from the Wizards franchise?
The
bad things happen.
The most irrelevant
teams,
franchise in basketball gets to be more irrelevant as they get the 6th pick when they had the. So 2 teams who had 14% chances to get the number 1 pick, Utah and Washington, are picking 6th and 5th, and I believe the Hornets are still alive. Wow.
So that's what you get for all that tanking.
Yep.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Get nothing. Well, all those months of Utah Jazz fans dreaming that Cooper Flagg's going to be the centerpiece of the franchise, face of the franchise, forget it. Just disappeared right there.
So
now Utah goes from thinking it had a great shot to be number 1 to the number 5 pick.
So right now, as we sit here, we'll get the top 4 here in just a moment. The 4 teams who could get Cooper Flagg, the Dallas Mavericks, that moron Nico Harrison might get luck out. Maybe he'll trade him for a first-round pick or something. San Antonio, which would be just absurd when you think about Victor, De'Aaron Fox, and then Cooper Flagg.
Tell you what, the Spurs. We get some respect in the betting market right away in the futures market.
The Philadelphia 76ers and the Charlotte Hornets. So the Charlotte Hornets were one of the 3 teams that had a 14% chance. The other 2, the Sixers were 10%, the Spurs were 6%, and the Dallas Mavericks had a 1.8% chance of getting the number 1 pick, and they're still alive at number 4. The Wizards will pick 6. The Jazz will pick 5th as those 2 teams.
What happened to the Pelicans?
I believe, I don't know where they got, but they are not available.
Pelicans slipped out of that.
Yeah, they are not in it.
Top 6? Anyway.
All right, so we'll get you that. But before we get to that, as they'll be waiting with bated breath to give you who's number one. Let's get to our VSiN Primetime Game of the Night.
The lights are on and the stakes are high. It's the Primetime Game of the Night.
After the lottery is announced, Matt, we will head to Madison Square Garden for the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. 2-1 series lead for the New York Knicks. Game 3 going to the Boston Celtics as the Celtics shot 50% from 3. Right now, the New York Knicks, a 5.5-point home dog. Total sitting at 208.5. This is some late over money coming back into the market just a little while ago. It was 207, Matt. The Boston Celtics dropped game 1 with a 20-point lead. Dropped game 2 with a 20-point lead. Got a 20-point lead in game 3 in the second quarter. They did not drop that game. They won 115-93. Tonight, Boston and the Knicks. Do you expect the Knicks to show a little bit more life than they did on Saturday afternoon at Madison Square Garden?
Yes, but that doesn't mean I want to bet the Knicks. You said a little bit more life. If you show a little bit more life, that means it's going to be closer than a 22-point loss, right? And that was a blowout. Celtics led by 16 after the first quarter. So much is made about how poorly the Celtics shot the three in the first two games. Shot the three-pointers at 25 for 100. They come back in game 3 in New York. I did bet the Celtics in game 3.
Yep.
I lost on the Celtics in game 2, I should note. I was talking with you, had a 3-team money line parlay. Celtics, Thunder, and T-Wolves. Thunder won by 40. T-Wolves won by 20. Celtics blow a 20-point lead, lose by 1. So I came back. I had to bet the Celtics in game 3 in New York. That's an easy win, rocking chair winner. What do you do tonight? I'm not sure. I'm going to look to live bet this game tonight, but I think you're going to see a better effort from the Knicks. As much as we talk about the poor shooting from the Celtics, the Knicks were 5 for 25 from 3 in game 3. They didn't shoot the lights out, really, in the games in Boston either. So 5 for 25, and Brunson was 3 for 8. It means, aside from Jalen Brunson, the rest of the Knicks, 2 for 17 from 3. You're going to have to get a better performance from that supporting cast. Brunson can't carry the offense throughout this entire series. I like the Knicks. If I had to bet at pregame, I would play the home dog tonight. I think it's going to be a different story than what we saw in game 3 when the Celtics' backs were against the wall, and they responded like you thought they would. Tonight, it's a little bit different game.
I would say the one thing that has been impressive about the Celtics throughout the first 3 games, outside of squandering multiple 20-point leads, is their defense has been strong the entire time. So I expect a little bit of shooting regression from the Boston Celtics from 3, and I played a little pre-flop under 208.5, but we're here on VSiN Primetime, and the beauty of this is, oh my gosh, this Hornets will be picking 4th. So the 3 teams that tanked, ladies and gentlemen, do not get Cooper Flag. The Sixers will pick 3rd. And
Cooper Flag's going to Texas. Is he going to Dallas or is he going to San Antonio?
Don't let Nico Harrison get Cooper Flag. He is going to get him. Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
Nico Harrison, that absolute buffoon, gets rewarded with Cooper Flag. You have got to be kidding me.
Him. That was the plan the entire time.
Yeah, he knew. He knew all along. Cooper Flag, he is giving the golf clap. He does not look happy at all.
That was a very unenthusiastic.
You think about it, Matt. Man, Luka and Cooper would have been a pretty good combo, but instead it'll be a hurt Kyrie and a oft-hurt Anthony Davis. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Dallas Mavericks, who had, let me just check my notes, a 1.8% chance to win the lottery, get Cooper Flag. Nico Harrison, that absolute clown, gets rewarded with the most highly anticipated college prospect in recent memory. We're going to talk to Johnny Avello from DraftKings here coming up bottom of the hour. But just a reminder, folks, we've got a great deal going on over at VSiN.com. You can get 14 months of VSiN Pro access for $199. Yeah, that is quite the deal. 2 extra free months. Use the promo code PROVSIN.com/subscribe.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Well, I'm sure the conspiracy theorists are firing up social media right now as the Dallas Mavericks, months after trading away Luka Doncic in what was probably the dumbest trade we've seen in NBA history, with a 1.8% chance to win the lottery, the Dallas Mavericks will now have the opportunity to select Cooper Flagg. The NBA lottery goes Mavericks 1, Spurs 2, Sixers 3. So the teams with the 3 best chances, Matt, to get the number 1 pick, the Hornets, Wizards, and Jazz, will all pick 4, 5, and 6. So there you go. Your conspiracy theorists out there,
well,
enjoy.
I mean, in a way, it's good because it does not reward you for tanking.
That is
There's
true.
no guarantees when you tank. All right, let's get to Johnny.
All right, Johnny Avello, Sportsbook Director at DraftKings Sportsbook. By the way, quick update from Raleigh, North Carolina. The Carolina Hurricanes lead 1-0. There is our first goal in the first period of that series. Johnny, let's talk some Knicks and Celtics first here. 2-1 series lead. Surprising to most that the Knicks have that 2-1 series lead. Back at the Garden tonight. Number sits at 5.5 at DraftKings, and the total is at 208.5. What have you guys been seeing for Celtics and Knicks tonight?
Oh, they've been betting the Celtics here, guys, and they never stop believing in the Celtics. Both games, Celtics had a big lead, blew it at the end. So, the bettors just thought that the Celtics would be in the whole time. They always were a strong favorite to win this series. That could have got a cheap price on them before Game 3, minus $1.20. But they're betting tonight, and my belief is if they win tonight, the series is probably over.
If the Celtics win tonight, you're saying it's over? Celtics going to win the series? Yeah.
That's what I think, yes.
Celtics 5.5-point favorites at the Garden, total 209. Those are the numbers of DraftKings. How about the second game tonight, Minnesota, Golden State? T-Wolves favored on the road again, laying 5.5. Johnny, and no Stephen Curry really makes it challenging for the Warriors.
Yeah, it makes it challenging for the bookmakers too, Matty. I mean, now you rely on Jimmy Butler, and that just hasn't been the case so far. So we opened this game 6, and a little bit higher. They took the 6, but they've been laying the 5.5. So they like the Timberwolves again tonight. The total in this one got bet up. Actually, the line hasn't moved, but they have bet the total over the 199.5.
Actually, Tim, when you go back to Game 3, I don't think the Warriors could have asked for any more what they got out of Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, he was great.
3. He was great in Game 3. The Warriors just ran out of gas down the stretch. And also, Draymond Green fouled out.
And Draymond Green also let them know that the point spread was 5.5. If you read his lips there at the
That was very interesting. Let's say that. Numbers 5.5. Warriors hit a 3 and lose by 5. Johnny, did you see that?
I certainly did.
Johnny Avello joining us here, courtesy of our progressive guest line. So 2 games in the NBA, of course, tonight. Overall, Johnny, with the underdogs thriving to an extent. Last night, Denver did ultimately get the cover on the closing number there against OKC, but we've seen a lot of dogs winning outright here to start this second round. Has that been a good result, or have folks been pounding some money lines, and have the big prices been hurting you guys?
Oh, no, that's been good for us. First of all, this has been a season of chalk. The NFL season, there was a lot of chalk. The Super Bowl we did pretty well on, but up to that point, the end of December through the playoffs, just a lot of favorites in the NFL this year. And then we got into the basketball tournament, NCAA basketball tournament, and that was a lot of chalk. So, the dogs are welcomed in our business, guys. They really are. I mean, we need that mix. The better the mix, some favorites, some dogs, is best for us. All dogs isn't good, and all favorites aren't good. But we'll take this run of dogs right now.
Johnny Avello, DraftKings Sportsbook Director, with us. Johnny, I'm looking at the DraftKings NFL page right now, and you have one lineup: Eagles 7 over the Cowboys. That's Thursday, September 4th, the kickoff game for the regular season. Eagles minus $3 on the money line. We know some other games. I believe on Friday night it's going to be Chargers and Chiefs in Brazil. Tim, we know some other matchups as well. I think Bears and Eagles. Is that Black Friday game?
Bears and Eagles will be on Black Friday. We know that Broncos and Chiefs will be the primetime game on Christmas night. Yeah. Commanders, Eagles the Saturday before Christmas, and Packers, Bears Saturday before Christmas as well.
Johnny, you going to be putting numbers up on all these games before the entire schedule is revealed on Wednesday? Do you think DraftKings will have numbers up on those other games tonight?
Yeah, you'll have those games up. And then, of course, when the schedule's released, we start early that day and get the entire schedule up for each and every team. So, as soon as anything's announced, we have it up. I heard, as a matter of fact, we just put up the Bears just now.
Yep,
Eagles 7 over the Bears, 46.5. So you'll see them all up here, guys. Matter of fact, they're all going up as we speak. We were talking about the NBA draft. Maybe you're right, it'll keep teams from tanking when you give everybody a chance, but maybe you should give the teams, maybe 3 or 4 teams at the bottom, the chance to get the number 1 pick instead of keeping it wide open for Dallas. This turns out great for Dallas. I mean, they end up with this pick, and now they've got a team around it. They were on 500 team last year, a little less than 500. So this makes them a contender immediately. Whereas some of the other teams sure could have used him to, have the rebuilding process work for them for the next couple of years.
Johnny Avello joining us here, courtesy of our Progressive guest line. So a whole lot going on. I know Matt's going to pepper you with some PGA Championship thoughts here, but before we wrap up today, Vegas and Edmonton has been a really fun series on the ice, Johnny. We've seen the over hit 2 out of 3 games. The last 2 games have gone over that 6.5. Saw a couple 7s out there in the market. You guys have a heavily juiced 6.5. Looks like those 7s have been gobbled up to the under. But what are we expecting tonight between Vegas and Edmonton, with Edmonton going back to Stuart Skinner in net with the injury to Pickard?
Yeah, well, first of all, how many games has Edmonton played that have gone under? I mean, they just don't play they haven't played those type of games all year, and they have been playing them in the playoffs. So you cannot blame the bettors for going over the 6.5 and laying the heavy juice. It doesn't matter, because unless we're going to see, a different model of goaltender tonight who's going to be able to stop teams, which if he was that good, he's certainly been in there for most of the games. But anyway, they're going to bet this over. They're going to lay the juice, and I won't be surprised if we end up going to 7 with the juice on the under by the time this thing kicks off here in a little bit.
First 3 games of the series between the Golden Knights and the Oilers, 6, 9, and 7 goals. So you'd think the betting public's going to play the over on that one tonight. We'll talk more about that game. We've got a watch party here at the Circus Sportsbook tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights. Johnny Avello of DraftKings with us. Johnny, I'm going to say the biggest event of the week is the second golf major of the year, the PGA at Quail Hollow in Charlotte, North Carolina. And you've got 2 strong favorites at the top of the odds board, in Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy. Where do you think the action is going to end up on the PGA this week?
Those guys are so low that we'll probably be okay if either one of those 2 wins, unless we take some money in play wagering. They're going to bet some other guys down the line a little bit. And they started to bet some of those guys, Morikawa, Oberg, let's see, Matsuyama a little bit, Koepka. And so they're taking some shots on the longer price guys. Those guys are usually that high. But Scotty Scheffler's been low. Rory, this is one of the lowest prices for him now since he's been playing real well lately. So you got to look past those guys, don't you, Matt? I think that's probably your strategy for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be the strategy pre-tournament, no doubt. I mean, where do you look, Johnny? You're a golf guy. Colin Morikawa has not won in so long. I know he's a popular play, 22-1 here at Circa. Who would you look at here? You going to look at a guy like Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, Joaquin Niemann, Hideki Matsuyama? What are you thinking here?
I'm thinking I'm thinking Schauffele here.
Schauffele?
We got a pretty nice price on Schauffele, 22-1.
Mm-hmm.
Probably won't find that at too many places, so I think that's a good price. And Schauffele, he's one of those guys that, he had some injuries. I think he's okay now. He can compete with the best of them. So that's where I'd be looking this week on the short end. I mean, on the high end, there are some really great prices out there. I mean, Patrick Reed 90-1, Corey Connor 65. Even Shane Lowry's been playing real well this year. He's 55. I don't know if I want to play Shane Lowry after the way he lost the tournament last week, because that's probably still in his mind. But Hovland at 50, there's a lot of great prices for guys out there if you think you can get by the top two guys.
He's Johnny Avello, Sportsbook Director at DraftKings Sportsbook. Always appreciate your insight, Johnny. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you, guys.
There he is, Johnny Avello. Celtics and Knicks about to tip off in New York City. The Carolina Hurricanes lead 1-0 over the Washington Capitals. We'll get you updated on everything you need to know as we keep rolling on VSiN Primetime.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We are underway at Madison Square Garden, Boston and New York. All right, 2 seconds in, Matt, no score. Feeling good about the under.
On an under pace.
All right. We've got a 4-minute power play for the Washington Capitals in Raleigh, with the Carolina Hurricanes leading 1-0. Quick update on the live line there in Raleigh. Hurricanes minus 445 and minus 130 on the puck line. If you do like the Capitals to keep it close tonight, even money right now at plus 1.5 goals. Derek White does bury a 3. We're screwed on the under. 3-0 Boston Celtics with the lead. Quick update, Matt, from Citi Field, a game that we were curious about. The Pittsburgh Pirates against the New York Mets, where Paul Skeens was a first 5 underdog. Pretty rare to see that happen on a regular, or almost ever. And right now the Pirates lead 1-0 after 2 innings. The lottery, the rigged tweets are flying fast and furious. The NBA told Dallas to trade Luka so that they would be rewarded with the number 1 pick. Seems to be the overwhelming conspiracy theory out there. How about this? On ESPN, Brian Windhorst just kind of threw it out there. He wasn't reporting, but he did throw this out there, I guess, as they were going to break. Quote, "They've wanted Giannis in Dallas for years. They signed his brother. Just thought I'd point that out." If you're Dallas, would you consider trading the number 1 overall pick to acquire Giannis Antetokounmpo?
I would not consider that for 1 second.
Well, Nico Harrison also traded Luka for
but then again,
AD and first-round pick.
It's Nico Harrison you're talking about here. So, first of all, you got to pay an exorbitant contract to Giannis. I know he's got a 3-year deal. I think was $170.
He's got 2 years left on his current deal with a player option for the 3rd year around. I think it's in that 50s. Yeah, $50 million.
You get Cooper Flagg on the cheap for 4 years, basically, and build a team around him. I don't think there's any way you trade the number 1 pick. And I love the freak as a player, but there's no way you could even consider that deal. But that's Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks, so they'll probably be talking about it right now.
Who knows what they're going to do?
How can we trade Cooper Flagg? I want to say this about Luka.
Yeah.
This is obviously not the popular stance. I don't think the Luka Doncic deal on behalf of the Mavericks was necessarily the wrong idea. It was poor execution. They did not get back what they needed to get in return for a Luka trade. In fact, the Mavericks should have got a hell of a lot more in return than what they did. But trading him is not the worst idea in the world. Look at Luka now and compare him, Tim, to the player he was 3 years ago. He was much quicker, lighter on his feet. He would dribble drive by guys and dunk on people. He is so slow and overweight right now. And unless Luka gets in much better shape, and he is by the way, he kills the team on the defensive end of the floor. He is a disaster on the defensive end of the floor. Unless he gets in much better shape, I'd be hesitant to give him that supermax contract that the Lakers are going to give him. Now, they're going to have to do it. He's going to be the face of the franchise. You're moving on from LeBron, and Luka's going to be your guy. But somebody's got to sit down with him and say, hey, you got to get in much better shape than you're in now. He looked fat and slow, and he did not shoot the ball especially well from 3. And that's why I think a lot of people are overlooking. I know the name value of Luka Doncic. He was not the same player this season that he was 2, 3, even last year, 2, 3, 4 years ago. He's fat and slow, and he's got to get in shape.
I don't disagree with that from the standpoint of he does need to get in better shape. Also, when you look at but I think the point that you made initially, which is it was a disaster from the standpoint of you didn't reach out to anybody. You only got one first-round pick. How did you not get Austin Reeves in the? You got Anthony Davis, and immediately he gets hurt. Shocker! How that all plays out.
I never would have traded for Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis and an unprotected 2029 when they had the 2031, and they said no, that's too much for Luka Doncic. But regardless, Dallas Mavericks get the number 1 pick. I'll recap that here in just a moment as we have the graphic. But real quick update: 4th straight game, Matt. First period under in Carolina, 1-0 the score. The Hurricanes have the lead after 1 period down there in Raleigh. Carolina, a minus 540 favorite right now, minus 145 on the puck line, and the total has dropped from 5.5 to 4.5 at DraftKings, juiced over now at $1.75. NBA, just a quick update. We've got a media timeout. The Celtics shooting well, much to my chagrin, as of course I took a little pre-flop under bet here. 13-4, the Celtics out to a 9-point lead on the New York Knicks. So right now, if you want to get in on the New York Knicks, you can get them at plus 10.5. So at the first media timeout, 8:38 to go in the first quarter, we've played hoops for 3 minutes and 22 seconds, Matt. The numbers moved from 5.5 to 10.5 on the Celtics against the New York Knicks.
I think the question, I was looking at that too, DraftKings a plus 10.5, it's minus 120.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, do you pull the trigger now or do you wait a little bit? I might wait a little bit because the Celtics have had a 20-point lead in each game of this series.
Yep.
So if you pull the trigger now and the Knicks are plus 10.5 saying, hey, I'm getting 5 points better of it, I understand that part of the argument, but I think I would hold on here because the Celtics are obviously off to a hot start and the Knicks are struggling. The first 3 games have shown us that the Celtics are capable of opening up big leads on this team. So there's probably going to be a point coming here real soon. We're going to get better than 10.5 if you're a little bit patient. Flip side of that is the Knicks could come out of this timeout and go on a 5-0 run. This game tightens up, and you miss out on the 10.5. But I think I would take my chances here. You know, live betting is all about pulling the trigger at the right time. You're trying to put yourself in great positions. I think I would wait a little bit. Tim, who knows? In a few minutes here, you might be able to get 14.5 with the Knicks.
Yeah,
right?
I don't disagree at all. And the Celtics, I've joked on the VSiN weekend morning line. I laid 2.5 on the series price, 2.5 game series spread, so that's a loser. I reinvested on the Celtics, Matt, prior to game 2 at minus 1.5, still alive. And then I reinvested again before game 3 at minus 105. I mean, if you were quicker than I was, you could have got a plus price on the Celtics to win this series after game 2. Right. And now they're sitting up 9 here early on in the first quarter. 13-4 is the score of the Boston Celtics over the New York Knicks. We still, of course, have Minnesota and Golden State to come tonight. We'll get some thoughts on that a little bit later on, but I want to circle back to the breaking news of the early evening, which is the NBA draft lottery and the teams with the best opportunities to earn the number 1 pick. The Washington Wizards, the Utah Jazz, and the Charlotte Hornets, Matt. They go 4 Charlotte, 5 Utah, 6 Washington. So all the teams that tanked for a chance to get Cooper Flagg did not get him. Excuse me, as English is a struggle for me at times. And the Dallas Mavericks, who had a 1.8% chance to acquire the number 1 pick, got it. And the interesting thing to me, Matt, is a lot here because of the news courtesy of Shams Charania earlier today that Giannis would entertain the possibility of being traded.
He wants out.
And then you see another report saying that he is intrigued by the state of Texas.
He wants out.
With no state taxes.
How about this, Tim? You mentioned this during the break, and I think you're right on. This is the team to me that's made the most sense, the Spurs.
Yep.
Spurs sitting there with the number 2 pick. I think the Freak would be the most
trying to score on that team? Holy
logical
God.
destination. If you got the Spurs where you got Victor Wembanyama and the Freak.
God. And De'Aaron Fox?
Wemby and the Freak and Fox. That sounds like some sort of sitcom.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Wemby, the Freak, and Fox on CBS.
Or it's like a sports radio talk show. So you just picked up De'Aaron Fox. Trey Johnson really doesn't make sense for you. I love Trey Johnson, but he and De'Aaron Fox are too similar. You wouldn't want to make that pick at number 2. Deal the pick to the Bucks, get the freak, whatever you have to do to make that deal work. I think the Spurs could make that work. That's probably where you're going to be looking. I know Knicks fans are going to be talking about the freak going to New York.
He ain't going
for
there
the next month, huh?
No, he ain't going to New York. If it's going to be a trade, they don't have enough.
I know, but every time a big name player becomes, is on the market, he's going to be a Knick. I think the Spurs would be the most logical spot for the freak.
Number 2, number 14, head to Milwaukee. Where you got to send Stephon Castle, someone like that. I think that could be the possibility. And also worth noting, Milwaukee, unless they reacquire their picks that they shipped off for Damian Lillard, they're not looking to tank, Matt, because tanking would not be beneficial for them long term. So they're going to want a quick fix, and maybe it is the number 2 pick, the number 14 pick, Stephon Castle, and a little bit more. 16-6, the Celtics shooting the ball quite well. Jaylen Brown just burying a 3 as they are now 4 of 6 from long range at Madison Square Garden.
16-11.
Ooh, okay. Knicks make a little run here as Mikal Bridges hits a 3-pointer. Hey, folks, did you know that Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved? No usage fees, no minimums. Earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. You sign up today, edgeboost.bet. The promo code is PRIME, P-R-I-M-E. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match the deposit. Once again, that website, edgeboost.bet. The Boston Celtics, a 5-point lead. Knicks on a little bit of a run at Madison Square Garden. It's 16-11. Celtics minus 7.5 in game. It is VSiN Primetime.